to be. Welcome to the Conscious Breath, Episode 7. My name is Eddie Stern, and we will continue on with the exploration about prana, breathing, and all other types of stuff. So we'll give folks a minute or two to sign on, and then we will get started. We'll start, of course, as we always do, with a little bit of a recap of the information that we covered last week. And then we will move on to the new practices that we're going to do this week and a little bit more new information as well. This series is 108 lessons in pranayama, which includes the breathing practices, of course, as well as the techniques and philosophy behind the practices. We are just about halfway through the course right now. And if you've missed the earlier ones and you'd like to catch up on the practices we've done so far, you can do so simply by looking into the Chopra well, and you go into the videos and you will see there the list of all of the first 6 episodes. You can catch up pretty easily with all of these practices. I would also like to announce that tomorrow, Saturday, October 3rd, I'm doing helping to host Deepak Chopra and the release of his book, Total Meditation, which of course is already out. Perhaps you already have a copy. And he'll be leading the meditation and also talking about the book, and then I'll be doing an interview with him. And this will be at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, Saturday, October 3rd. And you can go to the innerpeace.online, innerpeace.online. No, I'm sorry, it's innerpeace.network for information about that if you would like to join us there. Okay, so excellent. Let's go ahead and begin with a little bit of a recap about what we did last week. So last week we started discussing the 5 elements, and the 5 elements are earth, water, fire, air, and space, and we also talked about their relationship to prana. Now prana means energy and it means breath, but it also means that which causes things to move. So anything that comes into movement, that begins to move, begins to transform, is impelled by prana. And this is a Sanskrit word. According to the yogic traditions, prana causes all of the other elements to manifest. So prana itself is unmanifest. You don't see it anywhere, but it causes things to take form. The elements are also related to our physiological processes. So, for example, of earth, water, fire, air, and space, the element fire is related to our digestion. Water is related to our circulation. Air is related to our respiration. And so part of the, and space is also related to Earth is also related to stability and to homeostasis, and space is related to our ability to communicate between all of our different systems. So you have these basic 5 elements that make up the whole world and make up our bodies, and then they have specific processes that they're overseeing in the body. With pranayama, with the practice of pranayama, we're balancing the elements and also the 5 pranas that are related to them. So we'll discuss all of that at length today after we do our practices. One thing that occurs, and one of the reasons why people come to something like pranayama or they come to something like yoga or breath work, is that we have times in our lives when we feel that we are depleted of energy and that we need to be recharged. So we often come to yoga, come to meditation, because we feel that we need to be recharged. That something's a little bit out of balance and we need to bring ourselves back into balance. So we can bring ourselves back into balance not only by doing breathing practices, but by thinking about how we engage with the elements as well. So for example, We can recharge the earth element in ourselves by spending time in nature. If you don't have grass nearby that you can walk on, you can hug a tree or just put your hands against a tree to receive some of the earth energy. We recharge ourselves with water by spending time not just drinking enough water through the day, but maybe by spending time near a lake or near a river or a waterfall. And if you don't have those things around you, then certainly drinking enough water through the day is one way to expose yourself to the water element. I live nearby the Hudson and the East River, and I don't get to them nearly as much as I would like to. But whenever I get to those rivers, I feel completely refreshed. We recharge the fire element in ourselves through either gazing at the rising sun. This is a practice within the Hindu and yogic traditions. We can recharge the fire element in us by spending a little bit of time in the sun if the sun is shining and we're able to. Also by eating warm, cooked food that's not stale or left over, but freshly warm cooked food is a good way to recharge our digestive fire. And also by drinking hot water. Hot water is a good thing to drink throughout the day. Opening the windows in our houses is a good way to not only refresh the air in the house, but to let sunlight in. Even if we're feeling that we're exposing ourselves to sunlight, but the windows are closed, many of the beneficial rays of the sun are blocked out through the glass of the window. So you can open your windows, let the sun in, let some fresh air in. That's a good way to recharge the fire element. And also the air element. We recharge the air element through breathing practices and by being around fresh air. If you live in a very polluted city, I live in New York City, which is badly polluted, but it's not super great either. Then what we have to do is we have to get up earlier in the morning when the air is less polluted and take advantage of that time of day to do your pranayama, to do your breathing practices, to open your windows if it's not too cold or if it's not raining. And recharge the air element. Also, all of our organs follow their own time clock. So the lung time is between 2 to 5 a.m. If you happen to be able to get up at that time, you can do some quiet practices like meditation or reading or pranayama to begin to strengthen the air element in you. Of course, if you get up, if you're working late at night and things like that, then you can't get up at that time. But all of our organs do follow a clock, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the coming weeks. Last is the space element. So the space element is largely related to our minds and thoughts and to communication. We live in an ocean of air, so we're breathing in air that people are breathing out and that the trees are breathing in and out as well. But we also live in an ocean of thoughts. So we're breathing in metaphorically the thoughts of other people, and we're breathing out our own thoughts as well. So, and in the way that people think and have constructed the cities that we live in, we're also influenced by those thought processes of people as well. So, and because the space element is so subtle, we can easily get thrown off and easily pick up all of the thoughts and moods and energy levels of the people around us. So if we have people around us that are very negative, we can pick that up without even realizing it. If we're surrounded by creativity and positivity and support, then we will pick that up as well. So as part of energizing the space element, the people that we spend time with, that's very important as well. When we feel overwhelmed by people or situations, what do we say? We say, I need a little space. I need some distance here so I can be connected back to myself. So even needing some space and taking space for ourselves each day in meditation, in yoga, in breathing practices, that will energize our space element. And that will also improve our ability to communicate. So as the element of space rules over hearing and rules over communication, we can remember that we have our entire body is made up of about 37.2 trillion cells. So this is our cellular environment where we live. And all of the cells are communicating with each other every moment of the day. And this communication happens because of space. So to allow quiet time each day is to allow space to exist within us, which improves communication within our body and also within the outer world that we need to communicate with. When communication is not happening between the systems of our body, the cells of our body, then dysbiosis occurs, which means there's this breakdown of homeostasis. There's a breakdown of the ability to maintain balance. And so we need to support that maintenance of balance. Pranayama, breathing, yoga, diet, sleep, spending time in nature. All of these are the different ways that we maintain our homeostasis. Okay, so that's our recap from last week about the 5 elements and how it relates to pranayama and other balanced living. And now let's go ahead and begin with our practice for this week. So we always start off with the preparatory practices, and this is the abdominal breathing and then the rib cage breathing. And then after that, the humming breath and the high nasal breathing. So I'll talk you through all of these breaths and we will get started. So let's go ahead and sit comfortably, please. You can sit in a chair or on the floor. You can sit on a bed if you happen to be in a bed for any particular reason. And we're going to start by placing your hands over your abdomen. You can put your right hand right on your belly and then put your left hand directly on top of your right hand. And relax your belly out into your hands. And as you inhale, feel the belly rest out into your hands. And as you exhale, pull the belly away from your hands, but keep them where they were. So I'll move the camera down a little bit so you can see how I am resting my belly into my hands. And then as I exhale, I'm pulling my belly away from my hands, but I'm not moving my hands. I inhale, I rest my abdomen out into my hands. And I exhale and I pull the belly away from my hands. So the hands stay in a meditative position. Do this 5 times. Inhaling, letting the belly relax out. Exhaling, letting the belly pull in. Inhaling, relaxing the belly out. Exhaling and pulling the belly back in. One more time, inhale, relax the belly out. Exhale, pulling the belly back in. And now we're going to move the hands up to your rib cage so you can feel your ribs right in the palms of your hands. And as you inhale, you're going to push your ribs out into your hands. And as you exhale, squeeze the ribs a little bit together. This is diaphragmatic breathing. Inhale, pushing your ribs out into your hands. And exhale, squeeze the ribs a little together. In actuality, all breathing is diaphragmatic breathing. The diaphragm is our breathing muscle. The diaphragm moves, and thus we breathe. But we can use the diaphragm in different ways to direct the breath to different parts of the lungs. So now we're breathing into the hands and spreading the diaphragm out to the sides. And exhaling, letting the ribs come back together, the diaphragm contracting back up. Inhaling, the diaphragm expands out to the sides. And exhaling, the ribs come back down together. Do that one more time, breathing into the palms of your hands. And exhaling, letting the ribs come back down. Rest the hands on the knees. And now bring your awareness to your nasal cavity. And as you inhale, feel as though you're breathing way up into the area of the olfactory nerves, the sense of smell. So as you inhale, you feel that the breath rises all the way up near your sense of smell. You can imagine that you're breathing in the scent of a rose or your favorite smell or your favorite cooked food. And as you exhale, you let your awareness rest high up in the nasal cavity near the sense of smell as well. Inhaling high up towards the sense of smell. Feel the breath elongate naturally. And as you exhale, let your awareness rest still high up near that sense of smell. Do this quietly for a moment on your own. Feel as though you enjoy the sensation and enjoy the act of breathing. That you enjoy the act of breathing like you enjoy listening to your favorite song, smelling your favorite smell. And then relax the breath. Sit quietly for a moment, feeling a sense of calm, a sense of quiet. Okay, the next practice we're going to do is resonance breathing. We're going to use our breathing app here to follow along with. And for the resonance breathing, this is going to be an equal length inhale and equal length exhale. We're going to be inhaling for 6 seconds and exhaling for 6 seconds as well. We've been building up gradually week by week. And so last week we did 8 minutes. We're going to do 8 minutes again this week. For people who have not done the resonance breathing before, we're not trying to take a deep breath. We're trying to take a long breath. Okay, so the idea that you should have within you as you're doing the breathing is long, smooth, and even, but not deep, not full, just long, smooth, and even. And I'm going to press play on this app, and you're going to see the ball expanding, and that's going to be an inhale. And as the ball gets smaller, that's going to be an exhalation. There's also a little sound that you're going to hear along with the app too. So you can either breathe along with the sound, or you can breathe along with following the ball getting bigger and smaller. And this particular breathing practice helps to balance the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems and brings them kind of into an equilibrium so we feel calm and even, smooth. And it also supports or regulates to some degree the relaxation response, initiates the relaxation response of the nervous system. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin with the resonance breathing. This prepares the nervous system for the other practices that we will begin doing. Here we go. This is our inhalation. And the exhalation. Inhalation. And the exhalation. Try this for 8 minutes. If you like, you can close your eyes and listen to the sound with the breathing. at any moment this feels stressful for you, you can pause and just watch the ball moving bigger and smaller for a moment. And then when you feel ready, you can start again. Sometimes the nervous system begins to resist breathing in a new fashion. So give yourself time to settle in. So I'll do this along with you for the next few minutes. And when this concludes, we'll start with the pranayama practice. For folks who are just joining, we're inhaling as the ball gets bigger. Exhaling as the ball gets smaller. And if you like, you can keep your hands on your belly to feel the belly move into the palms as you inhale. And feel the belly pull away from the palms as you exhale. Inhale the hands, feel the belly fill. Exhale, the belly pulls away from the palms. So we're just a few minutes left. Remember, you're not trying to take a deep breath, you're trying to take a smooth, long breath. If you try to breathe too deeply, sometimes it causes tension or stress. Smooth breathing. And see if you have a sense of the diaphragm moving down as you inhale. The diaphragm moving up as you exhale. The diaphragm moving down as you inhale. The diaphragm moving up as you exhale. So we just have another minute and a half left. At this rate, we're breathing 5 breaths per minute. So last exhale. Now let the breathing relax. Sit quietly for a moment. And let the breath fall into any natural breathing pattern. Okay, so I'll be taking all of the questions at the end of the practice. So in the last 10 minutes, we will take all of the questions. Okay. Next, let's move on to Kapalabhati. So Kapalabhati is an energizing breath. It's safe for everyone to do. You shouldn't do this, however, if you're pregnant or menstruating or have very high blood pressure. And so what we do with this breath is it's abdominal pumpings, where we take an energetic exhale through the nose and making a sniffing sound like you're trying to blow a candle out with your nose. And then you have a relaxed inhale. So it's an energetic exhale, relaxed inhale. And it sounds and looks like this. And we will do this 20 times, followed by 2 long breaths, followed by another 20, followed by 2 long breaths, followed by one last round of 20. And this is said to remove excess phlegm from the body. So if you have a stuffy nose, you can keep some Kleenex or a handkerchief nearby. And let's go ahead and give this a try. So we have been doing this each week, and we've gradually been building up. If you're new to this particular breathing practice, this one is called a Kriya, which is a cleansing practice. If you get tired or feel stressed, just stop, pause, and breathe. And that goes for anyone who feels any stress at any time during these practices. Sometimes our nervous system is adjusting, and we need to kind of hang out there for a minute to see what happens. But if you feel uncomfortable, back off. Okay, this is your body telling you, just take this slowly. Okay, so let's give a try. Inhale, and I'll do this with you. Begin. That's 20. A long exhale, a comfortable inhale, a long exhale, one more comfortable inhale, a long exhale, rest for a moment, and we will begin the second round. Inhale, and begin. Long exhale. Inhale comfortably. Exhale. Again, inhale. And exhale and relax. Sit calmly for a moment. And please do try to hold your questions until the end of the practice. That's when I will be taking all of the questions. So if you ask your questions now, then I'll probably miss them when we get to the end of the practice. So just hold on to those questions for a few more minutes, okay? About another 10 or 12 minutes. Okay. Last round. Inhale. 20 pumpings. Begin. long exhale. Inhale, a long, slow inhale. And a slow exhale. A long inhale. And a slow exhale. Relax and breathe comfortably. As you get comfortable with Kapalabhati on your own, you can increase from 20 to 30, 40, 50, even 60 pumpings. When the abdomen starts getting tired or your lungs feel like they're getting to the point where they feel a little tired, that's when you stop. Always stop before you're really tired. Stop when you feel like, oh, I could do just a little more with pranayama, that's the time to stop. Otherwise, the nervous system will get tired. Okay, let's move on now to our Surya vedana. This is inhaling through the right nostril, exhaling through the left. We'll repeat this 5 times. And we're going to inhale for 6 seconds and exhale for 6 seconds. And we're going to do that at resonance frequency. So I'm going to put this camera up again for you to follow along with. And we will follow along with the movements of the ball. Let me actually put the books back here one more time. We're just going to be breathing from the right to the left side. Okay? Give me a minute to fix this for you. Whoops. There you go. Okay. So I'll count the rounds for you. Please place your ring finger against your left nostril, and we will inhale now through the right side. Exhale through the left. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale right. Exhale left. Let's do 7 rounds today. We did 5 last week. Inhale right. Exhale left. I'm sorry, I messed up with the app right there. Okay, so let's stay here on the left side now. Inhale through the left. Exhale right. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale left. Exhale right. 2 more rounds. Inhale left. Exhale right. Last one. Inhale left. Exhale right. Rest your hand on your knee and breathe through both nostrils. Notice any change in the breath flow. Any change in the mental state? Okay, so the next practice we're going to do is Anuloma viloma, the alternate nostril breathing. We're going to inhale through the left nostril and exhale through the right. Inhale through the right, exhale through the left. At any time that you feel, again, stress or discomfort, stop and pause. Even if you've been sitting up for a while and you want to straighten your legs out or you need to lie down on your back for a minute, that's completely fine. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to soothe the nervous system and gradually strengthen it. And it has to be a very easy, smooth, gentle entrance into the practice. This is not forceful. Okay, so this is what we're going to do for the alternate nostril breathing today. You're going to inhale for a comfortable inhale. Whatever your comfortable length is, that's how long you're going to inhale for. And then you're going to hold your breath in and pause for about 2 seconds. That's all. And then you're going to exhale out through the right side for the same amount that you inhaled for. And then you're going to inhale through the right, pause, exhale through the left. Okay? So that's the sequence. Inhale left, exhale right, inhale right, exhale left. How long are you going to breathe for? Whatever your comfortable inhalation is, that's how long you breathe. And you pause for 2 seconds after your inhale. And you can also pause for 2 seconds after your exhale if you like. Okay, we're going to do this 7 times together. Inhale through both nostrils. Close your right nostril. Exhale out through the left side. After your exhale, begin your inhalation as long as it comfortably is. Pause for 2 seconds. Exhale out the right. Pause for 2 seconds. Inhale. Pause for 2. Exhale for the same length that you inhaled for. Carry on your own. 6 more rounds. That was 1. So carry on this rhythm. If your inhale gets longer, that's fine. Your exhalation can then get longer too. So if one time you inhale for 6, then you exhale for 6. If you happen to inhale for 7 or 8, then exhale for 7 or 8. The inhalation dictates. And when you're closing your nostril, make sure you're not putting your thumb in your nostril, but you're holding right onto the side of the nostril. So you'll feel there's an indentation towards the tip of your nose. That's where your fingers go. The thumb to close the right, the ring finger to close on the left. Just like if you were going to close the fingers right at the tip there. And then they just lift up like that. And that's the reason why we use those fingers. So carry on smoothly, slowly, and quietly. Enjoy the sensation of the breath. Remembering your 2-second pause after the inhalation and the exhalation. And when you finish your 7 rounds, just put a thumbs up or put a number 1 into the chat section so I know that you're finished before we go on to the next pranayama. Smooth, calm, and even breathing. Okay, great. See everyone's starting to finish up around the same time, which is wonderful. Take your time to finish your last rounds. Beautiful. Thank you for letting me know that you're done. Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's prepare for our last pranayama. This is the Brahmari pranayama, the humming bee. This is very soothing and calming for the vagus nerve. It's also a sound that we sometimes make when we're self-soothing. And it massages the vagus nerve in the area of the trachea. It has a positive influence on heart rate variability and also on coherence of brainwave functioning and firing. Okay, so that made you a little sleepy. That probably means that you need to rest. Okay, so this is how we do Brahmari pranayama. You're going to inhale through both nostrils, and you're going to exhale, making a high-pitched humming sound like this. Just for the length of your exhalation. And then you're going to inhale and you're going to do it again. Now, when we make the humming sound, I'm not making a humming sound like at my lips, like the sound of It's not a m sound. It's an N and G sound, like the word king or ring. And it's hummed way in the back of the throat. So you feel the vibration in the trachea going up all the way to the very back of your palate as you make the sound. Okay? So let's do this 4 times together. And then we will have the rest of our discussion for today. Okay? So please inhale. If you want, you can also close your ears with your fingers. This is a really nice thing to do. If you want to feel the resonance even more in the throat, close your fingers as you chant. You can do it with your thumbs also. Inhale. After 4, rest your hands on the knees. Breathe quietly and feel as though you're directing your breath high up into your nasal cavity, near the sense of smell. Lengthen your exhalation a little bit longer than your inhalation. Feel the soft palate widening. Then relax the breathing, sit quietly for a moment. Okay. And then as you're ready, you can please open your eyes. Okay. So that is our practice for today. There is another mudra. We'll do this next week, where you close your thumbs, fingers over the eyes. This is called the Shanmukhi mudra, and it's to symbolically seal the sense organs as you do that breathing practice. It's very nice to do. Okay, so let's do our discussion for about 5 minutes or so, and then I'll take some questions. We spoke earlier in the class about how in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, it says that when the breath moves, the mind moves. And when the breath is still, the mind is still. And this is one of the keys of pranayama, to see that this isn't just breathing practices or working with the breath or breath work. What it is a practice to help still the mind and to understand what drives the mind to move. When our breath is chaotic, our mind and emotions are chaotic. When the breath is deliberate and smooth and calm, then the mind becomes deliberate, smooth, and calm as well. And so this is one of the essential purposes of pranayama. We can also see from the discussion of the 5 elements why it is that breath, mind, and prana are all created, and this has to do with space. So let's go back to this idea that the elements are manifest, we can see them, and prana is unmanifest, we don't see it, but it is the impulse that causes things to move. So it is the energetic principle and cause of all of the elements. So prana is the impulse for things to move, and space is the first of the elements that is created. It's very subtle, it can't be seen, but it holds within it everything that can be seen, and that's why space is so powerful. Air is the next element. It's subtle, it cannot be seen, but it can be felt. For example, with the wind blowing, or we can infer the movement of air from watching leaves blowing on a tree or something like that. Or the clouds moving across the sky, for example, or the change of the shape of our body as we breathe. So from air, from movement comes friction, and so fire comes from air. And fire is the first visible element. You can see fire. In Sanskrit, the word for fire associated with the elements is rupa, which means form. So it's because of the property of fire that we can see form. We can also transform things because of fire is transformative or transmutative, such as when we cook food, assimilation of food, assimilation and digestion of ideas and experiences is all from fire. And then from fire comes water, which maintains life. Our body is 70% water, our planet is 70% water, and so the transportation of nutrients is occurring within our body because of blood and lymph and all of the watery types of things. And the rest of our body is largely made up of the earth element. Our bones, for example, and our muscles are primarily the earth element. It keeps us solid and stable. The food that we eat comes from the earth, so food should be grounding and stabilizing as well. And we're going to use pranayama, meditation, yoga, and chanting, and the people we spend time with to support all of these elements and to support the energetic or the pranic field below these elements that allows them to do what they need to do. Now, if these elements go out of balance, a bunch of different things can happen. So, for example, if we get too fiery, then we'll be quicker prone to anger or judgment or criticism. We also can get very dried up if we're too angry. And what happens when we're overworking all the time and we're creating too much fire and our fire goes out of control, we burn out and our fire burns out. So burnout is literally when we lose our fire. We don't have energy anymore. If we're too watery, we get overly emotional. If we're too airy, we space out and we forget to do things like our practice, or we put it off till another time. If we get too earthy, then we can get very stubborn and dogmatic, think that our position is the right position, and the ground we stand on is the right ground to stand on, and the ground that other people stand on is not the right ground. And that can lead to, of course, all sorts of conflicts. If we get too spacey, we already use the word space to say, I feel totally spaced out. I forgot to do that thing. Oh, I spaced it. So that means that we get lost in our thoughts or our ideas. If we're overly spacey, we can be overly complicated too. Get lost in complicated cosmologies or complicated philosophies. Overcomplicate things. So when space is imbalanced, either it's too much, like we lose track of things, or they become overly complicated. So each of these elements will be grounded and balanced through the practice of pranayama, the practice of exercise or asanas, the practice of meditation, diet, sleep, and company of people we spend time with. Okay, so these are all the basic things that yoga provides. The higher aspects of yoga are, of course, for sensing ourselves as conscious beings, as perhaps moving in towards transcendent states and then embodying those transcendent states in the daily lives that we live. In the Advaita Vedanta tradition, consciousness is everything, but we don't perceive it as such. And there are certain veils that are covering our vision. So through particularly the practice of pranayama, we're removing those veils so we can experience deeper levels of consciousness or basic levels of consciousness within us, within the people around us, the world that we live in. Okay, so this is basically, we covered our topic in the beginning, at the end of the class today. The practices have already been written into the comment section. Not the comment section, but the description section of this particular video. So if you want to carry on through the week, the homework has already been written down. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them now. If you already asked your questions, please do write them in again, and I can try to cover them. If you have no questions and you feel perfectly calm, that is wonderful. Remember, questions are optional. We don't have to ask them. Okay, so Richa wanted to know, if you have high blood pressure, what should you do for Kapalabhati? If you have high blood pressure, it's better to do resonance breathing and do breathing practices where you extend your exhalation and not worry so much about doing something like Kapalabhati. Also, it looks like you probably live in India. You can definitely seek out a good pranayama teacher from who can help you one-on-one, perhaps. Kaivalyadham, for example, or S. Vyasa has wonderful teachings, and they're skilled in those things. Dawn, sometimes we get lightheaded doing these practices because we're not used to consciously breathing. But as you get used to the conscious breathing, you'll find that you don't really get so lightheaded. If you get dizzy, definitely stop. If you feel just a little lightheaded, that's typical. That happens quite often. But that's not the point of the practice. The name of the last breathing practice was Brahmari pranayama. Okay. What is the best food to increase breathing? I'm not too sure if there is a best food for increasing breathing, but certainly foods that are high in mucus or very acidic, or like oily food or fried food, for example, will make breathing a little bit more difficult. So we have to try to eat a clean diet. Clean diet means fresh foods, fruits and vegetables, grains are fine, and be wary of too many acidic producing foods or mucousy producing foods. Okay, what is important to have a pause between in and out breathing? When is it wrong to do that? So we naturally have a pause in between the inhalation and the exhalation. And as we get deeper into the pranayama practices, we're going to deliberately extend that pause because the mind gets quiet in the pause. So the reason we reflect on the pause is because the mind gets quiet in the pause. And the inhalation, it's energetic, exhalation is relaxing, and the pause is quiet. The app for the resonance breathing is called the Breathing App. It's a free app on Google Play and on iTunes, and it's an app that I created along with Deepak Chopra and my friend Sergey Varichev. Okay, so let's see. Judy Marek, if the practices today were comfortable for you and you felt good doing them, you can continue doing these even with the condition you have. As long as you don't feel out of breath, then you can continue doing these. Daisy, how do you help with being too watery? You could try a little bit of doing something which is slightly grounding or fiery. So either way, you can ground with a little bit of fire or a little bit of earth. And extending again the exhale is always a good thing for grounding. Sony, if you have a headache, you might have been trying to breathe too deeply or breathe too long. So if you start getting a headache, then relax the breathing, take pauses. If you're new to this, then also you have to go very slowly. But we don't want to cause a headache. And sometimes that simply comes from over-breathing or trying too hard. And Mayada, that's true in the case of a migraine as well. If you have a migraine when you've started with a practice, sometimes this can make you feel better. Sometimes it doesn't make you. And in that case, you need to stop and rest. Okay, so we are at 1 hour. This is when I'm supposed to stop now. So thank you all very much for joining. You can watch the replay as much as you like. And they will be on the Chopra Well. I will see you next week for episode number 8. And I'll save more time for questions next week. Thank you very much for joining. Have a wonderful weekend. Keep doing the breathing practices and don't overdo it. Om. Peace.